5 weird discoveries in Poppy Playtime Chapter 2. In a game where you traverse an insanely bonkers toy factory trying to fight for your life, it's not really too surprising that you find yourself in some strange situations. But if we look past this and truly try to seek out the strangest of the strange, and attempt to figure out how things work behind the scenes, then we're bound to find some odd stuff. So today we're diving into Chapter 2 to highlight some things you may not know about the second chapter of this toy nightmare. I hope you enjoy. Number 1. Did you know it's possible to spawn another train in Poppy Playtime? Mind you, it takes some behind the scenes tinkering, but it is possible to duplicate the train in the game station. The first time I tried this, I was a bit bummed, because I thought it would work but nothing around me happened. I was attempting to place the train on the tracks because, you know, I wanted to run into another train like the mad lad that I am. I'm all about that train crash, man. However, what I didn't realize was that I was indeed creating another train, but unlike other objects that load in where your character is, the train always loads into the same spot. So, for some reason, this is the center of the game station. It comes with working headlights and everything. This train has some problems though. For starters, it doesn't have all its train cars. Only one of the cars is present. And 2, despite the train lights being on, the train itself is completely gutted on the inside. There are no controls at all. The train looks really weird like this. All these controls on the train are separate from the train itself, and thus they don't appear. So while I couldn't get the train to move, I could get the other one to move while I was outside of it. I grabbed the train throttle and pulled it after I stepped outside the train, and it started moving with my hands stuck inside. It was kind of terrifying, not gonna lie. Oh, the train's moving! The train's moving! So wait, what's gonna happen when my arms... Oh gosh, what is going on? What just happened? Number 2. Did you know that Poppy Playtime has multiplayer assets left inside of it? I've covered this in another video, but I recently made another discovery about them. So there's a folder full of multiplayer files, and you can spawn on a character selector. This is Huggy, Wuggy, and Mommy Longlegs as characters. Only Huggy Wuggy is animated, and Mommy Longlegs is in a T-pose, but the third character is missing. And this is the training dummy from the VHS videos. Well, it turns out you can load the training dummy into the game too. He comes with a grab pack, and he's a solid character that's just as tall as the player. It really makes you wonder if we're this dude. But what's neat is that the game keeps track of how many training dummies there are in the game. So anytime another training dummy joins the map, the game will automatically change their color. This further solidifies that whatever multiplayer this was used for, whether in Poppy Playtime or Dark Deception, that if you chose the same character, the colors would change to distinguish between the different players. So that begs the question, what color would you play as? Number 3. So the first minigame we tackle in Chapter 2 is Musical Memory. It's like Simon Says meets Bop It, but it tries to kill you. So basically, it's a pleasant experience. I was kind of fascinated by this room because of how big it was, and due to all the different pieces and parts that pop into place as you progress. Mommy Longlegs is chilling up in a room by herself, but it's not really a room because it's actually a solid object you can't walk in. But she's basically staring you down and hoping you lose. And speaking of losing, if you do, you get bonked by Bunzo Bunny. So naturally, I am trying to break this room. I'm wondering whether you can hit the final button before the game even starts, but it doesn't work. So then I begin panicking because I know I'm going to get jump scared. And I fear jump scares only because I need to disable all my hacks before I die, otherwise the game crashes. So that's fun. So Bunzo is coming down after me, and I decide to just get the heck out of the room. I'm hoping he can't kill me if I leave the room, but something unexpected happens. Something quite possibly worse than death. I get trapped in a closed-off dimension. By somehow leaving the room, not only did I cause the game to unload the train station area, but it also unloaded musical memory too. Both of these places had doorways that led to nothing. The only thing that existed was the hallways and passages between these two spaces, and nothing I did restored either of these two things. I was trapped in a void. I eventually just decided to take the cardboard cutouts and bungee jump down to the great beyond. My hands were holding me up top while I swung from the cables down below, but eventually the cutout gave way and I died. Discovering a closed-off pocket dimension was not something I expected to do in Poppy Playtime. Number 4. The green hand is our new tool of choice when it comes to Chapter 2. We lost our red buddy to Mommy Longlegs, but the green hand has the power to harness all sorts of energy. But the green hand also has another secret. Did you know you can summon the green hand anytime you want? You could even start the game with it. Now, this isn't something I discovered myself, but apparently if you right-click your mouse over and over again when you load the game, you will magically have the green hand once your hand snaps back into place. I do not have an explanation as to why this occurs, but one thought that pops into mind is for testing purposes. It's possible this allowed beta testers or developers to swap to the green hand upon loading in, instead of having to manually enable it each and every time they're booting up the game in the editor. It could also be a glitch, but a free green hand is pretty awesome. Number 5. One of the things that always bother me in games is when I come across doors I can't get inside. I wish I had some sort of key to check them out, but it's worse when the door you're looking at is a door type that you've gone through before. Now, Poppy Playtime is full of doors you can't go in. The ones at the start of Chapter 2 simply lead to nothing but a black void. They didn't even bother to model anything behind them. But then, there are doors that do have something behind them. And there's this one area after the green hand that I got stumped at. So you normally enter the vents by the green hand, but after a moment, the door shuts behind you. If you aren't looking at the door behind you and you hear the noise, it makes you think the door in front of you is the one that's shut. So I thought I missed out on a secret or something. On my second playthrough, I realized this wasn't the case, but there is something behind the door in the vents. If you go through the door, the ventilation system continues on for a bit while going down, and then it hangs to the left. However, this is where the trail becomes cold, because it leads us out of bounds. I was surprised to see they modeled the vents behind the door though, since the door never opens. It makes me wonder if this vent used to connect to the underground tunnel we can see not far from it. There's no way to tell though. But that wraps up 5 weird discoveries in Poppy Playtime Chapter 2. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all really soon in my next one. Cheers!